So we're here live again. I'm Aaron Graber, I'll be your host today for installment number 2 of New Products with Ventrac live on YouTube. First things first, so we want to get started. I know we've seen a lot of you guys in the chat. I've gotten a lot of text messages and emails from everybody out there watching, so if this is your second time around, thanks for coming back. If this is your first time watching our live product reveals, thanks for joining us. And we're going to keep doing this in the future too, so keep marking your calendars when you send the notifications. First thing though, we've got another giveaway, hat giveaway again. So we've got a trivia we're going to start with, and the question for today is, what state other than Ohio plays home to the most number of Ventracs? So the first person to answer this in the chat will get this hat shipped to them for free. I'll even sign it if you want me to, but it's up to you. So we'll get to that later. And also, I'll talk about another promotion we've got through our Ventrac gear store at the end of the video, so make sure you stick around for that. The next thing we want to go to is we put together a little hype reel for you on this new product. That's actually going to do the reveal for you. As soon as you see that, you'll see what the attachment is. And then we'll come back to me. I'll go over the attachment. We'll talk about all the details. And we'll let you guys kind of geek out over the product itself. And then we'll go into the final announcements, and we'll close it out from there. So we're going to get rolling on the hype video. Hope you enjoy. All right, we're back. Hopefully you guys are as excited as we are about this new thing. As you can tell, it is the new version of the Ventrac Tough Cut. Everyone knows that's one of our most popular attachments, and we get pretty excited about it whenever we use it, whenever we film it. So we are really excited to launch this new version, and we're going to talk about it today, just run through all the details. I know, before we get started, I know we get a lot of comments. We want to see the new products, not the revisions, but we've got some of those coming too, so make sure you stick around in the future as well. Let's start with the Tough Cut though. So the first thing that you'll notice with the new Tough Cut is there's some visual changes. We made a few changes to accommodate some of the structural stuff and the new functionality, but it does translate into some different visual cues as well. One of the things I really like about this deck is the new black wheels on the front and the new hood shape on the tan part, and that just kind of makes a different look about the deck. It looks a little beefier. We did make some adjustments too to some of the strengthening around the deck and add some characteristics inside to make it a little more durable as well. The first point to mention is that the caster wheels on the deck are now included. They used to be a kit, but it was a kit that nearly everyone purchased. So to simplify things for dealers and customers and just people to understand how the deck comes, these are now going to be included in the deck. So that is just how you buy the Tough Cut. It'll come with those wheels now. Another thing that we did here is that we added an additional factory hole for the outside wheel position. So you'll notice here on either end of the deck, there's a bolt that goes through. That's just a dummy bolt. There's a hole there where this whole assembly will slide over, and you can pick whether you run these wheels in the center position or the outer position. That'll help you, if you're an operator in a certain circumstance, it'll help you pick where those wheels ride, and it kind of makes a difference depending on the contour or what you're trying to work around. Of obstacles and stuff like that. You'll also notice in the front here, this safety bar. This is not a tow bar, this is not a pusher bar, so be mindful of that. We do have some structural bracing behind to to keep from doing any damage to the deck if you do hit something with it, but it's not made to push things over. It's just a safety bar, but I will mention that the new feature, the big new feature that everyone wants out of this thing is the hydraulic flip-up, and we do have that. We'll get to that here in a second. But if you don't get that option, you can now lift the deck using this bar. So if you're in manual mode, it's not my favorite thing to do. This is a pretty heavy deck. I don't really like to lift it manually, especially when we have the hydraulic option. But if you have to, you can use that bar. It just makes it a little easier than before trying to grab like under this lip or something. So the next thing we'll roll back to is under the deck shell. I'm going to open this up here, this hood. 2 latches, pretty simple, rolls forward. Very similar to a lot of the other decks in our range. And you can see, I'll sneak behind Mark here, you can see inside some of the new structure that's going on. There's a couple important differences in here I'll run through. So first and foremost, there are, like I mentioned previously, some structural additions to help rigidity of the deck and strength so that it improves longevity over time. That's just kind of hidden in little pockets all over the place. So when you get your hands on this thing compared to the old one, you'll probably see some of those little gussets and stuff. Another thing you'll notice from the front corners or from behind here, we now have tie-down points built into the deck structure itself. So front and back on both sides, we have tie-down points large enough to accommodate full-size commercial tie-downs. That way you can tie down the deck from all 4 corners, even if it's on the tractor or not. The next thing you'll notice on the inside, if you dig into it a little bit more, is the pulleys have changed to a new pulley style. Occasionally in the past, we've seen some of these decks go into areas that are a little more abusive environments, and we've had some cracking out on some of these if they were decks that were really put through the ringer. We have since changed to a new pulley to help remedy the durability concerns on those previous pulleys. So this is a 1/4 inch thick center section, and this puck in the middle is wider as well. So it's a lot stronger, should hold up better for those really extreme duty users. If it's not something that you noticed in your applications before being an issue, then it's still an added benefit, you just won't know it. Everything else on the interior is pretty similar. So we've got the same spindles, the same blades underneath, roughly the same belt routing, but you'll notice here a little bit different tensioning system, and that's part of the hydraulic flip-up. So this tension system looks a lot like what we've got on our MS decks and our WAM, and it's a single lever detensioning system that allows you to easily flip the deck up. We'll get to that process here in 1 second after I explain the cut height adjustment here in the back. So we have the same cut height range as before with the caster wheels on the deck, and you are changing that cut height with this pin in the back too to help pick your zone of cut height. But what's different now is we've eliminated the jack stand from the previous deck. That jack stand used to go down through this part of the deck here in the back. Now there is no jack stand at all. And that's a benefit because sometimes that jack stand would get hung up on things, or people would forget to put it in the right position, and they'd either hit the grill or rip it off from the bottom if they were operating with the jack stand down. Now you're using the cut height pins to locate the hitch arms for your hookup and detach as well. So basically right now you'll see it as in an operation zone, let's say. It's in one of the holes that we would pick for a certain cut height. What we would do if we wanted to back out of this deck is we would raise the deck and we would put these pins underneath the hitch arms. And that'll hold the hitch arms up so that it's at the right level relative to the ground so the tractor can drive in and out. And if the operator forgets to do that, where the jack stand before was a bit difficult because you had to lift the whole deck to put it down, now you just have to lift the hitch arms, pull the pin, put the pin in the right place. So it simplifies that a little bit, makes it a little easier for operators to do by themselves if they mess it up, and is just a nice system overall. So to flip it up, we'll do that now. And basically what you're going to do is once the deck lid is open, you do need to take this lid off to flip the new deck up. What we've done, though, is make that a little bit easier, and we've gone to a spring-loaded pin style here, like the WAM. So the deck lid comes off really easily, and I'll set it aside here. Once you do that, you'll want to pull the pins in the back, and you'll use these pins to put in the holes here in the front for safety once the deck is flipped up. So you'll pull this pin for the detensioning, and then it's just simple move the lever over. And then I'm going to hop on the tractor here, start it up. You have to raise the deck first, then flip it. All right, so then you're going to put these pins back in just to make sure the deck can't come down accidentally. And that's the big reveal. So that's what everyone wanted to see about this deck. Can we please, please, please get a hydraulic flip-up? That was the feedback that we kept getting for years after we had launched it on the M-Series decks. And I'm happy to report that it's finally here. I can stop lifting this thing from the front of the deck. It makes it much easier when you're out in the field. If you get something tangled in there, if you're changing blades or whatever. So we can talk a little bit, too, about the differences underneath. And that's not going to take long because there really are none. Same spindles, same blades, same orientation, same deck shape. What we wanted to do was maintain the performance and the cut quality that we get out of this thing. It sits in our lineup nicely compared to flail mower and finish mowers. Welcome to Ventrac Live. I hear a tractor running in the background, so we'll have to see if we can get somebody to move that. The deck shell itself, like I said, it doesn't make a lot of changes for cut performance. The only thing you'll see that's a little bit different is down here on the back corners, you'll see these wheels. Those wheels are only there to protect the deck from crushing this flap, since we don't have a jack stand now that sticks down through the bottom of the deck. Otherwise, the deck would land on this flap because it lands on these corners. So these wheels keep the deck rolling. One side benefit of that is kind of nice that I've realized with the new deck is that it rolls around the shop nicely. So if you take this deck off the tractor, now you can grab that front bar and you can pull it around by hand. You can totally maneuver the deck around on a shop floor without the tractor even connected. So that's a pretty cool benefit too. The cut width of this deck is still 68 inches. We've gotten some requests to make that wider, and we would have loved to do that on this one, but we've played around with that a little bit, and we've determined that if we go wider on a tough cut, it's going to have to be an additional model. No reports on whether that is coming or when it would be coming, but there's some concerns there making this one heavier than it is because we don't want to lose performance on hillsides and things like that. So if you do see a wider tough cut, it'll have to be in the future. For now, we're going to stick with what we know and what we know works really well. The number one feedback we kept getting from people was, don't mess it up. It works really well, add the features we want, but please don't mess it up. So we tried to do our best to make sure we did not do that as well. Okay. Reach over here. I'm going to put the deck back down and show you the reinstallation of the lid. So first thing, I'm going to put the pins in on my desired cut height. And I need to do that before I put the deck down because there will be pressure on those pins as soon as the hitch arms are down and the deck is in float. Okay? Also, a pro tip here for this, when you are flipping the deck back down, this has the same geometry kind of style as the flip-up mechanism on the other series decks that we have. So when you notice the deck stop moving when you flip it back down, you still have to hold that lever a little bit to fully extend that cylinder. That way this flap has enough space to go down in front of the cylinder. If you stop when the deck stops moving, sometimes you'll have a little bit of overlap here on the cylinder, and you'll wonder why this tension doesn't close all the way, and that's why. So you just need to stay on that cylinder for a little bit longer just to make sure it's fully extended. Another note on this flip-up, this is not reverse compatible to the old decks. We tried. We would have loved for that to be the case, to be an easy swap over, but it was going to be problematic with the way our geometry worked in here. It was going to cause this to be a less good solution, so we went with the optimal situation for the new deck. Previous decks, unfortunately, you cannot use the hydraulic flip-up kit on those. You have to upgrade to the new deck. Okay, so try to make myself not sound like a liar here and put this lid on easily. If you've put the old one on, you'll know that it was a bit of a process to get it lined up. And this is a fair bit easier. There you go. And we're down. Okay, so that is it on the new HQ 682 Tough Cut. Availability on these things will be starting fairly soon. If you're interested in this model, make sure you give your dealer a call and talk to them. They have been debriefed on this as of yesterday, and they know all the details as far as availability and ordering and all that stuff. So give them a call. They'll talk to us, and we'll get it all sorted out. we're really happy about this thing. We're really excited to see it go out in the field, and just love this attachment. We absolutely love this attachment. So I think we're going to go now to the hat giveaway. And I think, do I have a name over here? All right, I have a name. So I warned Andrew that it better be easy to pronounce because I don't like messing things up live on camera. Okay, so James Foskey. James Foskey. I don't have it in my hands anymore, but congratulations, you're the winner of the hat. So we will send you this hat in the mail. We'll DM you, or you can get a hold of us one way or the other. We'll get your address, and we will send this to you. The other thing I wanted to mention is we are also going to run a promotion from now till, I think the next 2 hours only. So limited time promotion, reward for you being here on our live event. If you go to the Ventrac gear store, which some of you may know about, you will notice that you have a coupon code available. The code is HATSOFF50. HATSOFF50. So you can go to our gear store and you can buy any one of these Ventrac hats, 50% off for the next 2 hours. I hope you enjoy. All right, that's all we got today. Thanks for being here. Look out for our next releases and the next time we do a live attachment or launch on YouTube. Thanks for coming. We'll see you next time.